Give it up, everybody. Hell yeah, we're here at New York Comic Con, submitted for the approval of the Comic Con Society. This is the panel. We got Scott, we got Adam, and we've got Lee. How you guys doing? Oh, and Don Fubar, of course.
Hi, I'm here too.
I was so excited to talk about this because I grew up with Nick. I was telling you backstage, that was my babysitter after school. I would, like, my friends would be doing, like, let's go to the movies on Saturday night. It's like, nah, snicks on, man. Yeah. I gotta get my Roundhouse. I gotta get my Are You Afraid of the Dark?
It's like your first crush, right? Like, I was like, Alex Mack or the girl is probably going to turn me down. I'm going to stay with Alex Mack.
Yeah. Oh, man, Clarissa explained everything to me.
Now I know it all.
We all became men to that, I think. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Tell me how this project started. Tell me everything we want to know about it.
You want to go first?
You go first.
All right, so essentially we had talked for a while about having a panel where we wanted to bring a bunch of Nickelodeon stars together in Austin because we're from Texas. And we had written a bunch of scripts before, narrative features, and we decided it was time to direct something on our own. Scott is just a great director, has a lot of documentary background. And so we were talking about, like, maybe we should make a documentary, right? Because that's the way to go first, like, before you move into narrative, the narrative structure. And we were trying to think of what a good story would be that would resonate for a lot of people. And, you know, we've been friends since we were like 9 years old, and we grew up on Snick and Nickelodeon and Keenan and Kel and all those people. And we said, why do we do about Nickelodeon? So we did about 2 minutes of heavy Google research to see if other people had done it, and we found out that no one had.
Which is supremely surprising.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Because it's just, I mean, we want that. I want this. I've been wanting this.
Yeah. And it was really once we started doing the research that we realized there's a really cool story there. You know, it's more than just nostalgia, more than, hey, here's all the people you grew up watching. There's a really cool story at the heart of it.
And I bet, and I hope, actually, that everybody you contacted, who is probably, like, some of them are super famous now.
Yeah, totally.
And, like, just big stars and stuff. You contact them and, like, we're doing a thing about Nickelodeon. That I want to say, were they all just like, yeah.
You know, when we first decided to do this, you know, we knew we were going to be interviewing a lot of artists, you know, writers, directors, actors. You know, we might be running into some egos. And we totally didn't. Everybody was super cool. Like you said, people that have gone on to be wildly successful were like, yes, I would love to talk about my time at Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan was very into it. I mean, and Keenan Thompson is now on SNL every week. He's in America's Homes, you know, and he was extremely jazzed, you know. And during the interview, he was great.
It's so good to hear.
Right? It's just such an era. I remember, you know, that early Nickelodeon, like the You Can't Do That until, like, I just wanted to get slimed, and we were talking like, I want to play Double Dare, I want to dig in the giant nose and find the flag, and I'll take the physical challenge, damn it, that's what I want to do.
I want to be chained up in the dungeon, blue skies, Barfy burgers, girls.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it's just, and it's funny because, I mean, like, we've had, you know, you get the opportunity a lot of times, as you guys know, to meet a lot of talent, right? And it's just crazy because you grew up with these people that, like, it was a transformative period for all of our lives, and I think a lot of y'all also. And so it was crazy whenever you're talking to Mark Summers, you know, and he's like, oh, I see you got a Red Sox hat on. And he's like, I go there every single game. And you're like, wait, Mark Summers is a Red Sox fan? Like, he's a human being? Like, is that somebody that's just going to have us, like, run down and try to grab flags? You know, so it was great to get to know them personally. They were all really, I mean, everybody has just been wonderful and generous.
You know, I wanted to face Mongo, Nick Arcade style.
Oh, yeah.
Never got the chance to.
Yeah, Phil Moore and Kurt Fogg are, like, two of the most energetic, like, enthusiastic people that you'll ever, I mean, like, they just, you can tell why they are where they are, you know what I mean? Like, they're just born, like, natural to do that.
Is this a thing where you guys picked a point from, like, the beginning to a stopping point, or you just did, like, the whole?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, we really wanted to talk about the birth of the network, you know, how it came about.
Right.
And really we're focusing on the 80s and 90s, you know, once they kind of quit filming in Florida and moved to California, there was just kind of a shift there.
Yeah, and so one of the main things that we were blown away by is that they, you know, 30 plus years ago, they had a lot of, like, strong female leadership, and that was one of the ways that they really broke the rules. And so as we did more of the research and started digging deep and having more of these conversations, you know, like, those were the people that led the way. You know, I mean, it's 2017, and we're, you know, blown away by the fact that Wonder Woman is finally getting a movie, right?
Yeah,
and so
no
it's
shit,
like,
right?
Back then, if you think about it, it was just remarkable,
Yeah.
you know. So that's kind of at the heart of the story is how this group, you know, especially led by, you know, strong women, ended up like changing the game for everybody.
Well, there's so many different things on Nickelodeon that were they were geared towards a young audience,
Right.
but they were adult things, meaning like they had an adult variety show.
Yeah.
They had an adult drama for kids, the 15. We were talking about that. I remember watching that and I was like,
right?
wow,
Oh, man.
that was some deep stuff. They dealt with like alcoholism and like all kinds of
Divorce.
like hard-hitting like stuff. They had a new show, the W5, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God! And the new show for kids.
Yeah.
And they did real new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about real stuff that was really going on that a lot of people might say, kids won't understand that or kids won't care about that, but they did. You know, they really did not talk down to kids. You know, when we interviewed Mitchell Kriegman, you know, the creator of Clarissa Explains It All, that was one thing he said. I never thought of myself as writing kids programming. I wanted to make a good show.
Right. And I think that's why people get nostalgic as much as they do, because they treated us like human beings as children.
Sure.
And they trusted us that if we didn't get something, we would ask somebody about it. You know, it's like maybe stuff went over my head and I, you know, go back and watch it and like, oh, I never knew what that meant. But it didn't matter because they were talking to me like it was like,
They treated me like the child I was.
Like a human
I
being.
I deserve to know. I didn't watch the news when I was a kid. I watched Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
That's where I got all my news information. There wasn't websites. It wasn't internets.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about because, I mean, that's, you know, like I said, we grew up together. And one of the ways, you know, whenever we, like, I moved away, and one of the ways that we stayed friends was we watched Snick. I mean, let's be real, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram. It wasn't like I was, like, hanging out, like, watching it, like, posting about it. At the time, we were, like, on phones, calling, and we're
Watching
like,
Are
oh,
You
my
Afraid
God.
of the Dark?
We're like, did you see what Powdered Toast Man did when the Pope jumped on his butt? Like,
Oh, my
and we were
God.
I mean, and that was very, like, above for, like, an 11-year-old or however, 8-year-old, whatever, however old you were, that was like way ahead.
Go back and watch Ren and Stimpy, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
And that was
real.
on Nickelodeon for kids,
Yeah.
and there's some subversive shit in it.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic though because it was wrapped in such a goofy wrapper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up without Nickelodeon, so when I finally got
so
cable,
sorry.
Yeah,
listen,
yeah,
this
I'm
is
so
this
sorry.
is one of the reasons
This
I'm
is your
involved with the film
intervention.
is because it was like, oh great, I get to learn what I missed. But we didn't have cable growing up until I was about 16 or 17. So by the time I got it, you know, I wasn't really interested in young adult programming. I was a young adult interested in other young adults at that time.
Right.
But Ren and Stimpy was I'm looking at this saying, I thought it was just all kids stuff. I mean, this is not for kids. You know, this is more in line with Beavis and Butthead, you know, than it is with, you know, I don't know, something that's the Sesame Street or whatever they originally thought it was. Because again, I was blind to all this stuff. So it's great to know that this stuff is really it was talking to kids as adults at a time when that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I always felt like whenever I was watching Nickelodeon, especially Snick, I was getting away with something.
Yeah.
You know, like my mom would be like, all right, cool, you have fun. And I was just like,
Just watching Nickelodeon,
I'm allowed to
Mom.
watch this?
right.
Yeah.
Just watching the old Nick.
Yeah. It
And
was great.
still to this day, like. Yeah.
You got it.
To this day, I haven't watched that show in 15 years, 20 years.
All
Right.
those
Quailman.
all those songs, I hold them in my heart, and when I think about them, it makes me
Yeah.
wanna-
Well, I
Now,
think,
did you rediscover anything that you forgot?
Yeah, there were some things from the very early years, you know, when we were like little kids that were like, oh yeah, that's right. What were some of the
Hey
horror?
Dude was awesome.
Hey Dude was totally
I
awesome.
mean, it was.
yeah.
I think it was just great to go back and like a lot of it was we got to revisit a lot of stories that we had kind of forgotten about that
Yeah.
we knew were like kind of like bred a lot of like the stories that we were compelled and really interested in, you know, and finding out like what the background is, like those creations, you know, it's like everything from Are You Afraid of the Dark was done specifically like so that they wouldn't get sued, DJ McKell, or like the way that he could get it through the network because people were like, you're scaring the hell out of kids right now. This is terrifying. And he was like, no. This is rooted actually in William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Like I could go to this. This is Hamlet.
Yeah, that's what he mentions, that all of the original shows were based on fairy tales or just classic stories, so that he could fall back on that, because it is kind of a crazy idea. Hey, I got this show, and the whole point of it is just to scare the hell out of little kids. You know?
Yeah, I mean, what a pitch, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna scare them.
That was my first like foray into like thrillers and horror and stuff like that. Like before I was you know, man enough to watch Freddy and Jason. I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark, and it was like my precursor, like, ooh, I like being scared. Yeah. I like, you know, a little like horror element to it. You know, I like
are awesome.
kind of like that kind of stuff. Yeah, putting my hand around.
When you also felt I feel like I connected with those characters, right? Like Pete and Pete, like this world. I was like, man, I would love to just hang out with them, right? Like I would love to be a member of the Midnight Society and just go out late at night and get to tell these spooky stories. You know what I mean? Like I wish. Somebody got scared right there.
Well,
they're telling ghost stories back there.
I just like before there was Tim and Eric, there was Pete and Pete.
Yes.
It was like this
a good point.
goofball weird show of these two redhead brothers.
Yeah.
And then
Iggy
I
Pop.
watched the same show later in life with two weirdo people like just putting on a show.
Yeah.
So we got to wrap up, but is there any time that we can see this, find this, updates?
Can I have it now?
Yeah, no.
TheOrangeYears.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Check us out there.
Okay.
Stay updates there, Facebook and social media. Just get us on there, and we'll be posting updates all the time.
And you said you're going to try to make it in Tribeca?
Yep.
Going to try
That's
to
the
get
plan.
to Tribeca.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
cool,
it,
man. Guys, I could talk about this literally for hours. I'm not kidding you. Cool. This is fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being
man.
here today.
Thanks for having
I
us.
appreciate it. I look forward to
Absolutely.
watching the movie when it comes out.
Thanks.
TheOrangeYears.com.
Yep. That's it.
Check it out. Don't go away. More from the Twitch stage here at New York Comic Con.